Hey Linnets fans, I've just finished speaking to Runcorn Linnets physio Luke Davies. We discussed his time at Salford University studying for his degree, how he got into his job at Chester and how that helped him grow as a person, and eventually how he ended up with the Linnets and his hopes and expectations for what will happen now and in the upcoming year. So that's a great chat, some really insightful stuff from Luke. So I hope you enjoy it and any feedback is appreciated.
Thank you for joining me, Luke. We're kind of going to start by looking at your degree at Salford and kind of looking back at that. Obviously, an important part of your life. How do you reflect on that time at uni studying for your degree?
It's a tough one really because at the time you're in the bubble. You don't really understand the implication. You go from school to college to university. Um, but you look back now, it was one of the best things I ever done, and I actively encourage anyone I've spoke to since to do it. It's given me a massive opportunity in terms of what I wanted to do and go far. But yeah, it's an amazing thing. University, it's an achievement no one ever will take away from you,
And was it?
as you guys all know.
Yeah, absolutely. Was it kind of a time in your life where you always knew that you wanted to study sports physiotherapy, or was it kind of something as you grown up you kind of developed that feeling to want to do that?
Fell into it really. I mean, I thought I was quite unique, but when I speak to other people in the industry who've done it, mine was I had an injury myself about 15, 16. No, nothing major. It was a grade 2 MCL in my knee. I went through the NHS with physio and everything else, and I actually thought, I like this, enjoy this, something I could do. That was at the time of me just leaving school, really, so it was quite well. Um, Went to college, spoke to the people there, and sort of, well, what do I need to do to get to this? And that was how I sort of took my route. And I thought I'd be the only one, but when you speak to most people in the industry, they've had similar situations, really.
And you kind of touched on it there. Obviously, you did kind of play football when you're younger. Obviously, you stopped as the years kind of went on. But looking back, you did play for local teams such as AFC Liverpool and Ashton Town. How do you reflect back on your playing days?
I was a head and kick it centre back. I was nothing else and nothing more than that. But no, in terms of where I'm at now, and I think a lot of people who work with me will say I bring a lot more than just the physio side of it, and that is the football background really. Being in the changing room since I was 6, 7 years of age, at, school, local teams, whatever it may be. But it's let me understand the level. I know the level we're currently at. What's required at the level, and I think that's the positive thing. But football, then level football's great. It's all about being there, and whether it's a Saturday or Sunday or midweek, just being around the environment's great, and that's another reason why I took the route today. There's, you got a football career at whatever level, come to early 30s, you normally finish. This gives me the opportunity to be in it for as long as I want, really.
Well, so you mentioned there you did suffer an injury when you were a bit younger. Do you kind of wish your playing career had gone differently, or can you sit here now happy with how it did go?
If I hadn't been involved in football, I'd probably had a few regrets. So I was never ever good enough to kick on and make a good living out of football. But I did enjoy it, loved it. I missed playing it once I sort of took the decision to go into the physio side. I did. But like I say, my end goal was to sort of stay in the game, and I think I can do that now, which is the positive side of it.
And I read that you did play at the Linnets in 2011, if I'm correct in saying that. Reading you've gone 1-0 up, ended up losing 2-1, and I read that you were admitted that you were at fault for the equaliser. Can you just talk us through that?
Well, I didn't think I was at the time, but my manager at the time told me it was, so I'll have to go with that. Yeah, look, we were the league below Runcorn at the time, and Runcorn have always been competitive, no matter what level they've been at. They have, so it was a big game for us, really. So to go 1-0 up early, we were the underdogs. It was big for us, and I say it was a mistake. I got beaten a 1-on-1 out wide, and to be fair, it's a great finish. I'm sure if anyone from Linnets has got the video out there, it was a hell of a finish. Clubbed the goalie from out wide, but yeah, I'll take some responsibility for it.
And not long after coming out of uni, you've gone into a job at Chester in 2014. How big of an accomplishment was that for you to get a job at a good level football club like Chester?
I think it's only after you've been there you understand. I wouldn't say fell into it. It was an application job. I've sort of done full circle. So I joined as part of the academy with Cal. So Cal was under 18s manager at the time. That obviously being around the environment, people see your work and allow me to progress up to the first team. And you sort of get caught up in the bubble really. It's just 5 seasons there, amazing seasons, ups and downs of course as football gives you. I think it's only when you step out you realise the level, the club. It's a massive club for the level. It shouldn't be at the level. Fan base, and yeah, you step back and you think, oh, it was a great time and some great memories, great people, friends for life. But yeah, it's something I speak of with proud. It's a massive football club. It really is. It really is.
And how important was that stage in your life? Obviously, it's kind of one of the biggest jobs you'd got at that point. Being able to develop professionally and enhance your skills, it must be a job that helped you massively, not just as a physio, but as a person in general.
It does, because when I say you go up a level, everything goes up a level. Standards go up a level. Caliber of people go up a level in terms of background and stuff like that. So to get in that environment, there's bigger expectations on you. So you have to either meet that or you don't. And if you don't, you fall by the wayside. That's not just football, that's life. So it drives your standards up and becomes repetitive in what you do. And, if you've got a footballer who expects standards himself, expects standards of you, and you have to meet that. So that has definitely enhanced me. And that goes for what I do now. I try and bring standards to what I've done. It doesn't matter where you've been, you try and whatever you've learned, you take with you. So yeah, it's helped me. One thing I will see, you go to that level and everything is just about, this has got to be done, that's got to be done, this is the standard. And if you don't, say you get found out pretty quickly.
And how and why did it come about you leaving the club in 2018? Was it a decision you made or was it a mutual one?
It was my decision. I think 5 years is a long time. I think it goes back to your question before about you live in the bubble. I don't think 5 years went so quick for me. The club was going through a time where it was just changing, personnel, and there was it's the right thing for me to do at the time. I had to take a step away from football. It was a lot in terms of time with me, my day job and stuff like that, and just to refresh really and get myself ready to do something else. And I had 12 months out, which was great. Really was great. It allowed me to be ready for whatever come next. And obviously when Carl got the job at Runcorn, that was the right opportunity for me.
And we'll touch on Carl now. Obviously, you mentioned you met him at the academy when he was under 18s manager. What were your initial thoughts of him, both as a person as a football manager?
Without getting his head bigger than what it normally already is, I was impressed. I mean, I was only young myself. must have been 23, 24, and Carl would have been 19, 20. So to walk into a dressing room and to see the way he owned the dressing room with people his age, really, maybe younger, was impressive. I can't hide behind that. I won't really tell him in person, but it was, and he had good people around him who helped, who've been in the game a long time, who helped stabilise anything where a 19-year-old will come with shortcomings. He had a good team around him. But no, it was impressive, and you could always see he was going to do well out the game, whether it was coaching, managing, which he will do. He really will.
And obviously, I don't want to make his head too big myself, but kind of, what is it about him? And it's something that we've kind of experienced firsthand. That why, broad question, but why in simple terms do players want to play for him? Why do staff want to work for him? What is it about him that makes people want to perform to the best of their ability for him? In essence,
enthusiasm. I think for me, in any walk of life, if someone's got enthusiasm, it channels down. If you walk into a job, a dressing room, and it's deflated, that'll naturally just spiral through everyone. But no matter what the result is, no matter what the game before done, win, lose or draw, there's enthusiasm there, and it filters through to everybody. There's love for the game, and he works harder than most in terms of what he does. And I think the lads who've worked with him this season will say the attention to detail is massive. And I think there's a lot of that. If your manager's prepared to do that, you've got to step up and give your same. And I think that's what drives people on who play for him, really.
And you mentioned him getting the job in June 2020, and obviously that's when you joined as well. How did the Runcorn Linnets job come around for you?
It was a weird one, really. because he sort of told me he'd applied for it, which, you know, straight away, would they be involved? And I said, yeah, of course it would. Perfect for me locally in terms of distance. Knowing Carl, knowing some of the people who were going in, you know, it was a perfect match for me. But it was just a case of sit and wait, see if he got it. Thankfully he did, which was good. And it was a case of, you know, will you come in? I said, yeah, 100% I will. You know, again, not just because of Carl, because I know the club. You know, I've been to many Runcorn games, and it's got massive potential as a football club. Great fan base. You know, again, average 350 for the league they're in, which is massive. So it was everything ticked the box really for me. And going in with someone you know does help. It really, really does. You've got to trust the Carl straight away. So that took a little bit of pressure off me.
And obviously in your first season at the club, it's been probably the craziest that anyone could have imagined. And for you in particular, as the sports physio, how difficult has it been to navigate through what has been 2 lockdowns in this campaign, multiple suspensions, and just the maddest of seasons? How difficult and how pressurized has that been for you?
The best way I can describe it is feel like I've done a season in 4 or 5 months. So in July, when we come back, or end of June, the lads have obviously been off for a long period of time. So we had them complications of not day one, you know, getting them into the mode where they're just going to break down. So that was a tough ask in terms of planning and preparing. I think we've done quite well out of that. I think pre-season, injury-wise, we didn't really have. I think we had Scott, which was the only one which trickled into the season. And obviously you get the lads who early into the season picked niggles and stuff up, which was tough, but that's natural, that's normal in the change of intensity. Then the lockdown come again, and you've got a 4-week break in November, and it's all about getting the lads sick and over, and you can't recreate the match, you can't, but it was giving them the best opportunity to do it. But it's a challenge. I think we've seen that coming back after the lockdown. I think we had the 2 friendlies, which, you know, we got a lot out of in terms of what we wanted, and then into Morpeth, which was a tough game to go into competitively first. And I think there's a little bit of regret in the sense of before, if that was 4 weeks earlier, we'd have probably give a better account of ourselves as a club and as a group of players and staff. But that's the challenge, you know. I think we've only seen us really at Prescott come back into what we know we can do. And that's 3 or 4 games. Prescott will probably say the same, and whoever was playing around that time will say the same. As, you know, them first few games are tough, and it is tough. And again, we'll probably have the same situation this year where the lads will have had a long period out. It's hard for them mentally as well as physically. But what I will say, we've got a good group of players who you don't really have to push really. You know, they're asking me, they ask Carl, they ask Mikey, Carl, what can I do? And so we've got a lot of trust in them. But the natural match intensity is hard to replicate. It really is.
And just finally for you, obviously we've spoken about how crazy a year it's been, and probably 18 months. And if we were to sit here again in 12 months, what do you A, want to have accomplished with Runcorn Linnets, and then B, what do you want to accomplish personally?
I think I seen a note yesterday from Dave, chairman, saying about starting next season, which will be a follow-on from this season. I think that's important. I think the lads and us as a club and a group of staff deserve the opportunity to carry on what we've done. And I think we've got a good team. We really have. We've got a good dressing room, which is the main thing. We've got a good team. We've got to be aiming to, you know, we've got internal aims where we want to be. Of course we have. And if we meet them, we'll have had a good season. If it doesn't transpire that way and we have to start again, we have to start again. But, you know, this club is as I said earlier on, it's a big club, the level. It's got potential. And without sort of putting a number on it, we've got an internal target which we're disappointed if we didn't meet really, and I think that's one that everyone at the club shares.